As you may or may not know, my wife and I just got back from Vegas. It was a great trip. We ate, we drank, we had a blast. But then we got home and looked at the credit card, and I gotta say, it doesn't matter how much fun you're having, $25 for a drink is a ripoff. Frickin' Vegas. I hate getting ripped off, and so do the lads over at Harry's. They spent years watching the razor blade companies rip people off and said, no more. Not all heroes wear capes, my friends, and they want to prove that they're legit by offering you hot dogs a $13 trial set for just $3 at harrys.com/RTG. I've been telling you about them for months, and I'm genuinely proud to have Harry's as a sponsor of this show. I wasn't kidding. The plastic, futuristic-looking crap razors you get at the store are overpriced and they're poor quality. Harry's blades are crisp, clean, and classy. They're the kind of razor you'd expect your grandpa to have on his bathroom counter. And most importantly, they work. Shave after shave, they're so smooth, they're precise. I used to go through the crappy store blades all the time, but Harry's are built to last. And they're not just better quality than the other names, they're more affordable. And they deliver. Just set your schedule, and for as little as $2, new blades, shaving creams, lotions, everything you need, right to your door when you need it. I genuinely cannot think of a reason not to try Harry's. And I'm not just saying this because they're sponsors. They're the best shaving supplies I've ever used. Try them out, and if you're not happy, your shave's on them. And unlike the other subscriptions, they're really easy to cancel if you want to too, which is a nice bonus, but believe me, you're not going to want to cancel. Getting ripped off isn't funny. Switch to Harry's. Get started with a $13 trial set for just $3 at harrys.com/RTG. That's harrys.com/RTG for a $3 trial set. Hey everybody, before I start the show this week, I just wanted to reach out to all of our listeners and all of our supporters in Australia with the wildfires and everything that are burning out there right now. It's really, really scary stuff. We're seeing it on the news. I think the whole world is seeing it right now. We're pulling for you. I like seeing the stories of firefighters from all these different places going out there to try to help you guys. There's nothing that I can do here in Edmonton other than to let you guys know that I'm thinking of you and we're all thinking of you. And if you need to vent or talk about whatever's going on out there, feel free to reach out to me on social media, and I'll absolutely just lend you an ear and let you vent. And I hope that for the next 45 minutes or so, this show kind of helps you take your mind off what's going on. Thank you all out there for your support. Everyone in Australia. I know we've got some listeners out there. You guys are great. The world is pulling for you. Be safe and enjoy the show. This one is dedicated to all of you, all you from the land down under. Okay. Here we go. Enjoy. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Remember the Game. It is my retro gaming podcast where every week a buddy of mine and I sit down and geek out about the games we played back in the day. My name is Adam Blank. Thank you so much for listening. This week it is episode 79, and we are talking Doom on everything. It's on everything, you guys. It's on every system. I guess it's PC first or MS-DOS, whatever the fuck that means. But it's on everything. One of the most historic games of all time, I would think. No? Well, of course it is. It's the first ballot Hall of Famer. It's Doom. My guest this week is Patrick McGrath, longtime supporter, longtime guest here on the show, and he gets fucking passionate about this game, and I love it. So we're going to get into the Doom talk. Before we do that, you know I'm going to ramble for a few minutes. If you don't want to listen to it, feel free to check the description box. There'll be a timestamp telling you what to skip to. But hang around. I got some shout-outs to give. I got to talk wrestling for a second. I'm going to talk about these one-up arcade cabinets, wasting time on video games, all kinds of stuff. Let's talk. Let's talk about stuff. First and foremost, I launched Wrestling with Wrestling. my pro wrestling podcast on Friday. I kind of launched it last Friday. It's on everything now except iTunes. It's on Spotify. I believe it's on Stitcher. It's on Google Play. You can find it on Podbean. It's on YouTube. But iTunes, a week after I submitted it, is still dragging their fucking ass on verifying it. So I'm sorry. Maybe by the time it actually gets on iTunes, there'll be a second or third episode for you to listen to. For the people that have found it and have listened to it, I've got some really good feedback on it so far. So thank you all so much. I'm excited about it. We'll see how it goes. Probably give it a better plug next week when hopefully it's on fucking iTunes where everybody can listen to it. Fucking Bill Gates. I knew you hated pro wrestling. But I talked about 5 ways I would improve WWE. And I won't talk wrestling on here very much anymore. It'll be a little bit of cross promotion. That'll be about it. But please go check it out if you're interested. You can find it. Wrestling with Wrestling. I've promoted it on all of our social media for Remember the Game here as well. Please follow. We follow back. Do all that good stuff. And yeah, fucking rights. Wrestling is awesome. I also posted our Patreon giveaway video today. And so by the time you guys hear this, it'll have been live for, I don't know, about 24 hours at least. So I'm going to give away the winner. Hopefully there's no more suspense. Congratulations to Sean R. I don't know how to say your last name, Sean, but you're the only Sean in our Patreon. You won $25 to the system of your choice. I'll be reaching out to you on Patreon to see what you want it on. If you would like to get in on that draw, you can sign up at patreon.com/rememberthegame. $2 a month is all we're asking. And not only will you get entered into a chance to win 25% of our Patreon every month, but you will get a shout out on the show, just like all of these beautiful people are going to get right now. Huge thank you to Andre, Andy Baker, Aiden Irvin, Benjamin Barlow, a.k.a. Ben Drinkin, fucking solid handle, Bradley McHugh, Taco Shirt Chris Sumner, Daniel Brooks, the Anonymous Dave, Dustin Little, James Clark, Jason Adams, Jeffrey Mathis, Joe Buck, John Taylor, Josh from Press Start to Join, another podcast, check them out, Freezer Burnt, Keegan Wilson, Lord Egbert, Mark McHugh, Michael Mathis, Nigel, Shaley, Sean, your winner from this month, Sharonic, Thomas Christian, Todd, Tyler, and Chuck Barsick. Thank you all so much for supporting the show. If you would like to hear your name read on here, I mean, it's probably the least of the 3 things. You also get extra episodes and entry into the prize, but $2 a month, patreon.com/rememberthegame. There's your Patreon plug. And also a quick shout out to Quinjet. Should have grabbed my phone and had it ready. Quick shout out to Quinjet for leaving us a good review on iTunes. He left us a 5-star review. Such a fun, nostalgic podcast. I really appreciate the laid back format and often hilarious banter with guests. So thanks a lot, dude. Please leave us good reviews, you guys, wherever you listen to these. I can't see them everywhere. I'm not on Spotify or anything, but I guess good reviews are good for the show. So please do that if you don't hate us. If you do hate us, I don't know. Fucking leave us a bad review. I don't give a shit. Leave me a 1-star review. Fucking go for it. I don't give a shit. Go for it. I don't talk about it too often on here, but I've added a bunch of dates to my comedy to my comedy calendar. Just so I in case by chance you didn't know, I'm sure everybody does. I'm a comedian. And if you have, not only are you in Edmonton, but if you live in Lethbridge, Medicine Hat, Bragg Creek, Terrace, British Columbia, Calgary, Grand Prairie, or Rocky Mountain House, I will be there before April, and I would love to see your face. So abcomedy.net. You can see all my upcoming tour dates, or you can find me on Facebook, or not Facebook.com. Just search for Adam Blank, the comedian, on Facebook, and you'll find me on there, and I post on there sometimes. So I'm trying to cut back on my social media. I'll talk about more about that again in a second. You guys know about that already. But I do have to post my show dates once in a while, or nobody will hire me. And then I'll have to get a real job. And if I have to get a real job, I won't have time to do this anymore. And then the world will fall apart. So a little bit of retro gaming news that I wanted to touch on. 1UP Arcade, those guys that make those sexy little like 3/4 full-size arcade machines, announced some more cabinets that are coming out. Shout out to my pal Brad for tagging me on Twitter and letting me know about it. Some of the ones they have coming out are going to be NBA Jam and Burger Time. That Burger Time cabinet looks fucking sick. They all look so good, these classic cabinets. Every time I go to the Walmart near my house, I see the Pac-Man one in the box, and I'm like, fuck, that Pac-Man one or the Ninja Turtles one. I would love to get my hands on one of those things so bad. I don't have anywhere to put it. It's hundreds of dollars to play like 1 or 2 classic arcade games that I already have on a bunch of systems, but fuck, they look rad. I think I've mentioned it before, but a Miss Pac-Man, like full-size arcade machine is my absolute white whale. video game option or video game object. I would give so much to get my hands on one of those things. But those 1UP arcade games are sick. I haven't seen anyone complaining about them yet. When you see someone post like a picture or a video where they've got like, excuse me, I almost sneezed. Got like a row of them in the background of their setup or whatever. They look so dope together. If you've got one or more, let me know. Send me pics on social media. I'll retweet them. I'll share them. I want to live vicariously through you, and I want to see your arcade cabinets. So at Member the Game, we're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Shoot them at me. I promise you, I'll give you a shout out. I'll plug it because I think they look fucking awesome, and I want to promote them. So. I love those fucking 1UP. I just wish they weren't so goddamn much money. It's more money for a fucking stand-up arcade machine that plays Pac-Man than it is for a PS4 that you could play tons and tons of games, including, I'm sure, Pac-Man on. But PlayStation 4 is just not as sexy as that fucking is it? So, speaking of PlayStation, just a touch of news leaked on the PS5. I'm curious. I'm watching from a distance. I'll get more into that probably in the Q&A rambling episode this month. I'm keeping an eye on the PS5, the Xbox Series X, 2, 4, or whatever the fuck they're going to call it. They both look cool. It sounds like they're going to be complete powerhouses. I'm just curious. I want to see what they do because, like, Sony destroyed this generation, right? But Xbox is really picking up some steam with the Game Pass thing. You guys know I've been blowing smoke up their ass for 2 months. Wait, I said Bill Gates about my Apple podcast, didn't I? Bill Gates isn't Apple. Bill Gates is Microsoft. Who's Apple? It doesn't matter. Fuck Bill Gates anyway. But the Xbox is cool. So I'm curious to see, like, Xbox has Game Pass, which is building up some steam. They went out and bought a ton of developers, so it looks like they're going to have some first-party games for the next gen. I want to see if Sony can keep the title for a 5th generation, because they've owned it for 4 gens, and I want to see how much longer they can stay on top. At some point, someone's going to knock them off, aren't they? I mean, I'm not wishing against them or anything, but at one point, it looked like Nintendo was never going to be topped, and then they got beat, and now they're kind of coming back. But anyway. You guys don't care about that. Well, maybe you do care about that. I don't know. A few of you reached out to me based on last week's show too, where I talked about whether or not I think gaming is a waste of time. And most of you seem to say that you don't think it is. It's just a hobby. It's fun. And I agree. Like, I never wanted it to come across like I think gaming is a waste of time. I love it. It's my favorite hobby. It just carries that stigma, doesn't it? Like, if you read for 4 hours a day, nobody blinks an eye, but you play video games for 4 hours a day and people are like, you need a fucking life. And you're literally getting no more exercise or anything. If you might be getting more exercise playing a video game if it's like a fucking Wii or virtual reality or one of those things. I guess you could do jumping jacks while you read a book or something, but whatever. I don't know. I don't think it's wasting time. I just do think you need to walk the line with addiction. And I personally feel like I have had stints in my life where video game addiction has crept into my life, where it's all I think about. It's all I want to do. And I battle that now. I work from home now constantly. And almost every day, all I want to do is play video games. I know I'm like, no, you can't. You gotta do your work. You gotta have a life. So just as long as you're not letting video games get in the way of your life, play all the fucking video games you want. Just make sure all your other stuff is done first. As long as all the important stuff is done, if you've got 4 hours or 5 hours to kill or a Sunday to kill and you have nothing to do and you just want to game and play video games, fucking game. And don't let anyone tell you that you can't. Fuck them. It's not bad for your eyes. It's not bad for anything. It's good for your thumbs. You get the reflexes. Game it out. And with that said, what have I been playing over the last 7 days? I'm sure you've been wondering. Well, I'm going to tell you. And if you follow me on social media, I know I already plugged it once, but I'm going to plug it again. On Twitter or Instagram, at Member the Game. I follow every single person back. I talk to you on there. I retweet. I like interacting about games. I post what I'm playing, when I'm playing it. I'm trying to pull back on my social media from a personal level because it's fucking toxic, but I actually quite enjoy interacting with you guys on the Remember the Game social media. So I have been posting about it on there. If you want to keep an eye on what I've been playing, I'll be over there. I finished Resident Evil 2 on my PlayStation Classic for the first time, the original PlayStation 1 Resident Evil 2. Unfortunately, I can't get the second disc to work with the ROM, so I can't play the Claire storyline. I was only able to play the Leon one. I don't know. I'm not very... If you heard when I was talking about trying to hack that fucking thing, I'm completely illiterate when it comes to this stuff. But I enjoyed the shit out of it. I talked to someone today about recording an episode on it in the near future, so expect that probably before episode 100, a Resident Evil 2 episode. And I'm looking forward to playing Resident Evil 3 now, the Nemesis one, and the remakes. I want to play the Resident Evil 2 remake, and I'm really looking forward to the Resident Evil 3 remake. I still put Resident Evil 4 ahead of all of them so far. But I mean, we'll see with the remakes. Maybe the remakes put it ahead of Resident Evil 4. Enjoyed the shit out of it, though. Great fucking game. I love discovering new old video games with this podcast so much. I also finished Gears of War 5. Gears 5 on my Xbox One on Game Pass. Very, very satisfying. I loved it. I love the Gears series. I know I've talked about it on here already, but I fucking love Gears of War. I can't wait for Gears 6. I thought the story was strong. The campaign was great. I don't really do the online stuff. I'm ready to move on to another game, but that was fantastic. Really enjoyed it. I'm still slogging through Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair on my Switch, but I think I'm right on the verge of just tapping out. People are comparing it to Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, and that is bullshit. It's fine. It's a decent platformer. Frankly, I find it boring. There's just too much dead space. I don't find it very challenging. There's coins to collect in each level, but each level is so fucking long and tedious. And if you miss a coin, it's so easy to tell where a coin is, but if you accidentally kill a bad guy or destroy a box before you grab the coin, you have to play through the whole fucking level again just to get back to there to have one shot at bouncing off a bad guy to get the coin, because the bad guys don't come back. And it's fucking just like, I want to be a completionist with games like that, but fuck this. I'm done. It's boring. Apparently the first one wasn't that good. The second one is not that good. I don't care what anybody says. Yooka-Laylee just needs to go away. I fired up my Sega Genesis Classic, playing a retro game that's on there right now for research. I'm calling it retro research for a future episode of the podcast right now. Won't get into too many details, but it involves animals. And that's all we'll say right now, or mammals or whatever the fuck they are. It probably just gave it away already, but I'm playing that. And then I'm looking to fire up Ori and the Blind Forest on my Xbox, maybe even tonight after my comedy show. So that's what I've been playing over the last 7 days. If you're wondering, do I have a video game addiction? You're goddamn right I do. But let's talk the reason you guys are here, and that is episode 79 of our podcast, and Doom. Historic game. When you think of first ballot Hall of Fame video games, you think of Mario, you think of Zelda, I think of Tony Hawk, I think Grand Theft Auto, Final Fantasy, probably, depending on the one, and Doom. Doom is right there. It doesn't get much more historic than this game, and you don't get a lot of PC love on this show. I think we've only ever done one other PC centric game, and that was Roller Coaster Tycoon. So you better enjoy this, because you're not going to get too many more, because I can't think of too many more PC games that I've even played. And I was nervous about doing this one, because most of my Doom was on the Super Nintendo, at least until they started re-releasing them on stuff. But my returning guest of the show this week, my pal Patrick, he knows his fucking Doom. He's so passionate in this episode. I love it. I know one of the big compliments we get in the reviews and stuff is the passion, and that is going to shine through on this episode. He also texted me after we recorded this a couple of months ago, but he also texted me and said he thinks he misspoke about a book in the podcast, and he thinks it's already come out, I think is what he mentioned. And I said I was going to leave that comment in. I'm not editing it out, and I was going to give out his cell phone number so that you could all text him and give him shit for being wrong about the book. But if I do that, he's threatened to start his own podcast, that's going to be nothing more than a supercut of me calling every game I've ever played my favorite game ever. So, and I don't want him doing that, because he'd be able to go forever on that, because I do love every video game. So I better just shut the fuck up about that. But Patrick's a good dude. This is a good podcast. I'm going to cue some music, and we are going to talk Doom, which originally released on MS-DOS. I don't even know what that means. That's how much I know about computers. On December 10th, 1993. Now it's on everything. Kick back, relax, everybody. Let's talk Doom. Here we... This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Everyone that listens to this podcast knows about our illustrious CEO, my dog Molly. But the other silent partner behind the scenes is my wife. And let me tell you, my friends, a 17-year relationship with another person that has to talk to and live with you is a lot harder to maintain than one with a dog. We've had our ups and downs, and as you all know, a relationship isn't all sunshine and rainbows. They can be a lot of work. You get out what you put in when it comes to relationships, and talking to a therapist can be a fantastic way to put in some work. They can help you work through your issues, learn to communicate better, and even just provide you with an ear to bend when you need it. I've talked to my therapist about my relationships, especially when it came to my stand-up comedy career and how much I was away from home, and they helped me work on ways to keep my relationships strong even when I was out on the road. It turned out our relationship was actually better when I was out on the road, but that's a story for another day. And I know, right? Therapy. Who has the time these days? BetterHelp hears you, and they're making it easy. Fill out a quick form online, and they'll match you up with a therapist that suits your needs and that'll work around your schedule. You pick the meet times, and you can get your therapy fix from anywhere over video, phone, or just chat. Become your own soulmate, whether you're looking for one or not. Visit BetterHelp.com/rememberthegame today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/rememberthegame. Go. So I'll have already said it in the intro, but this is one of those ones, dude. When you suggested Doom, I was like, yep, we've all played. It's everyone. If you're a gamer, at some point you have played Doom on something. Yes. But I was like, I also know there's a viciously passionate fan base for Doom, particularly the old PC Dooms.
Absolutely.
And we may not do it complete justice. And if we don't...
This is going to be an episode about love.
That's right. Do not fuck it. Well, come at me if you want, but I don't care.
If you want to learn about Doom, there's a book that was published recently, and that's great. There's a shit ton of information that'll tell you all about the history.
Oh, really?
This is,
good.
This is a love episode.
You guys know what to expect from this show.
This is a lifelong love episode.
We don't know stuff. Well, I don't know stuff. Patrick McGrath is my guest this week. You guys have heard him on the show 100 times. I already asked you how you're doing once, but I'll ask you how you're doing again for continuity's sake.
Yeah, I'm great.
You're still good?
Yeah.
Good. An hour of talking to me hasn't ruined your mood yet?
No.
Perfect. I'll get there. So we're talking Doom this week. And I mean... if we drift into Doom 2, I don't care. That's fine.
I figured we covered probably the two of them.
Yeah, I would like to avoid Doom 3 because I feel like I know that game better than I know the early two, and I'm like, there's an episode to be done on Doom 3. But Doom, the first note I have on this, and I'll ask you a question.
Sure.
Would Doom is Doom a first ballot Hall of Fame franchise? Like, I mean, like to me, when I think of like first ballot Hall of Fame video games, it's like Mario. Obviously, probably Pokemon, Zelda.
I think Doom is that.
Like Sonic, like
Doom is that for the first-person shooter.
It has to be, and and the thing is like, and I don't think I'm mistaken on this. Wolfenstein came first, right?
Wolfenstein is the first game that id Software did, yes.
Right.
So that's their prototype to Doom.
Okay.
That's the first-person shooter realized.
Right.
Doom is the first-person shooter perfected.
Perfected. Right. Okay. That's a good way to put it, because I was trying to figure out how to say that before, because like. And I don't want to piss people off if I'm wrong, but like they were the first-person shooters, weren't they?
It is, absolutely. Like, every first-person shooter you love today exists because Doom.
Right.
Like we don't have Halo, we don't have anything.
Right.
And it's undeniable. Like it's still around today. It's coming out next year.
That fascinates the shit out of me. Like I want to know how they came up with this, like they're like, okay, well, let's make a shooting game. And they're like, well, how about we make a shooting game where it's like you're looking at what you're shooting? Like it, because I know obviously now we're all like, this is normal.
Yeah.
But like when Nintendo made Mario, they never thought to make it from Mario's viewpoint. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Or Sonic, I know they're like older.
Yeah, you had like side-scrolling games, arcade games.
It just seems so crazy to me.
Wolfenstein is a bit of that. Like it's a bit of arcadey. But it was like action from the beginning. Like you start and you're in it. Right.
So, okay, so that makes me feel better then. Because I was thinking about it, like, I don't think I'd ever played a first-person shooter before I played these games.
Didn't exist.
And I never played, dude, oh, fuck. So this is where I'm going to start making people angry. The first time I played Doom was on the Super Nintendo.
That's fine.
And I was like, oh, this is so cool. Yeah. And like, it is pretty universally considered like one of the
worst.
This sucks.
Outside of, Doom 64.
Yeah. But I remember thinking like, wow, this is so cool. And then a couple of my friends were playing it on PC. And then I got trying it on PC and I was like, holy fuck. Yeah. Like, I assumed you're a PC guy. Is that where you started playing it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you like hardcore, like one of those people that played online and did all that shit back then?
No, because I was a kid. Like so the thing about Doom is when it came out, it was a shareware game. Like, it didn't launch until 2 years after it came out. So 1993, it comes out as a shareware game.
Right.
So that's why almost every computer you've ever seen from that time frame has Doom on it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I attribute that to the reason why I love Doom so much, because not only do I not know how I had copies of it, I don't know how I had access to it.
Right.
But I do distinctly recall. So I'll like my memory and experience with Doom as a kid. 2 spots. One, my friend had it who lived really close to me. It was on his computer. I don't know where they got it, because this game is considered, for the time, heavily satanic.
Buddy.
And they were a very religious family.
Yeah, that's I was gonna go. I wasn't allowed to play it.
Yeah, and I think once his parents saw what we were playing, I don't think they had it anymore.
Oh.
But where I had a huge amount of playtime with it is when I was in, I think, grade 5, there was 2 elementary schools really close to each other, and I would walk from my school down to the other school for a lunch program every day.
Okay.
And they would allow us access to the computer lab. And in the computer lab, I found out they had Doom on it, and I figured out how to LAN 4 computers together so me and my friends could play Doom, and that was every single day.
Holy fuck.
For that year, just playing Doom. So in that sense, I guess, like, multiplayer, I was playing deathmatch with my friends, but if they weren't into it, it was just playing through Doom.
Right.
And I loved it. Like that. Like, that's such a, I hold that memory like so near and dear to my heart about this game. Like, I can't think of a game that has shaped my interest as a person, even now as an adult, more than Doom did. Like, Doom set off my fascination for science fiction, for horror, for first-person shooters, for all of the stuff that it does. Like, those are all the things. Like, all my favorite games, like Mario and all of these great games aside, like horror shooters, survival horror,
right,
scary games, horror movies, that's me from like a kid to an adult. Like, that's what I love.
Because of Doom.
Because of Doom.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, when you were like, let's set up the man I am today, and I was like, when I think of Doom, I think of chainsaws and demons.
Evil Dead 2, man.
And I was just like, and I'm like, yeah, I get like the fun aspects of that, but I was like, what the fuck are you?
Yeah.
You get out of my house. I was like, you're like I'm gonna like sacrifice your dog with a chainsaw. Yeah, because like, dude, it's fucking. Like, I remember some of my friends talking about how, yeah, they could play like on computers, like against each other, like on their, like everyone on their own, like,
yeah.
And that, even that, like, I didn't get it. I was like, what?
Yeah.
You can do that?
It blew me away that I was able to find out how to do that without internet, without researching, without somebody telling me. I don't know. I have no idea how I figured it out that I could do it. Because, and I remember being the person who was like, hey, you guys load up Doom. And like, let's do this thing. Everybody type in this IP address, and we were just able to LAN it all together. And like, when I figured out how to like voice message people, and my friends are like, "How are you doing this?" And like, I'm just laughing because I have no idea how I figured this stuff out.
And like, it's funny, like if you're like a younger person listening to this podcast, like obviously, like right now, you could fire up your PS4, your PC, fucking whatever, except for your fucking Switch because Nintendo got a Nintendo.
Yeah.
And you could throw on a headset and talk to your friends while you play video games with them across the fucking planet if you want to. Dude, back in these days, like early mid 90s.
Yeah, 93, 95.
That you could fucking play on 2 separate computers and like play with each, like fucking mind-boggling. I legitimately didn't believe it when people were telling me that.
It was crazy to me that like I didn't know this was, because I wasn't a big computer gamer.
Yeah.
Like, I had consoles at this point. I think the Super Nintendo was already out.
Yeah.
So I was playing Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
But again, it's just like, I don't know if it's because of shareware. I don't know if it was a game that PC builders were just installing on PCs to give to people, like when they bought a computer.
Right.
I do remember buying a copy of Doom 2 on floppy disk at some point, years later. But it was just one of those things that everything could run Doom. Like anything in the world can run Doom.
Right.
And since Doom came out, everything I've ever owned, I've had a copy of Doom on. Like, I own everything that's available on the Switch for Doom.
Yeah.
My computer, on Steam, everything that's available. iOS.
Yeah, I did a list.
Now.
So I went to the list, and these are ports of the original Doom that it has been on. The 32X, the Atari Jaguar, the Super Nintendo, the PlayStation, the Panasonic 3DO, which was a criminally I liked that system. The Sega Saturn, Game Boy Advance had Doom.
Everything
Xbox 360, iOS.
Yeah.
Literally everything.
I've paid for Doom multiple times over my life.
Right. And what's crazy to me about it is, like, forget the fact that I wasn't, because I just straight up, I kind of remember when it became, because again, shareware, we had shareware games. Like I remember playing like Maniac Mansion and stuff on my computer, like some
just
of those
like
games.
that, like everything was on.
Yeah. But I remember my mom just straight up being like, you're not playing that, because it was in the news. It was, dude, this was unheard of.
This was like one of the first times a game caused controversy.
It was gory. It was violent. You were in hell. There was satanic references and stuff. It was like, this isn't Mario fighting a giant lizard. No. This is you literally go to hell in the game. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's, and I remember not being allowed to play it. But I remember seeing it and just being like, wow, like this is a game? Like, because it doesn't even seem like a game. Like, and I remember being slightly scared of it.
Yeah. That's the great thing is I still play it. Like I play it constantly.
Right.
And it still scares me. You go to like, especially that first Doom, those first few levels, I think even in level 2, you get to an area where the lights just shut down, a bunch of imps come out, and you're like, oh shit, like I got a shotgun, I'm just blasting in the dark, and you're scared.
It legitimately scared me. I was like, not just like the horror of it, but like
the visceral image of it.
Yeah, like I was like
splatters and like the carcasses, and you see like you're walking around, you see like the dead carcasses of all the other fallen like Marines and stuff.
Right. Yeah. Like, and I didn't play, or I didn't like, I wasn't a horror movie. I'm still not a horror movie guy. I'm a wuss. Like it's never really been my MO. And I remember like I was like, I don't know if I want this game in my head. Like the idea of like I'm going to hell to like fight demons, and like obviously now it's like you fire up Gears of War now,
it's so tame,
right? It's nothing, but it's still even the dude's face, and as you take damage, how that the Marine or whatever his name is, they never named him
Doom
right?
Guy.
Doom
well
Guy.
Until recently he was Doom Guy, now he's the Doom Slayer.
Okay, so, I like Doom Guy better.
Doom Guy is
like even when the way his face would get beat up as you took damage, like legitimately scared me. Like, and then when I finally got to play it, you'd be like running away and you'd be like almost out of your ammo, like, you know what you mean, like you're pretty well fucked. You're like praying that you find some armor or something, and that guy's face is just bloody and like, destroyed. I remember like being uncomfortable and being like, I don't want to play this anymore.
So let's talk about how brilliant that character is. So not giving him a name and not really giving him any real story. Like you start and you're in it. It's the reason that action movies are so popular. Just the chiseled,
excuse me,
no name type character. Like I feel like I'm the Doom Guy when I play.
Yeah.
There's so much room for you just to be like, I identify. You're in first person perspective. There's nothing, no name. There's no story. There's no voice. There's nothing to this guy other than this image. Yeah, and you're like, this is me. Like I'm this guy, and it's brilliant.
It really, like, I never put that together till you started saying it. The concept that like first person was new. And so it's not like, it literally is like you're walking through these levels. And so to not name your character and not give him any kind of backstory or anything and just be like, you're on, I don't know that we'll get into the story in a minute because I don't even understand the story, but basically you're the one in outer space and you're the one going to hell to fight these demons. Like it helps. It really helps like engross you in like and other games have done that like since. Like, I mean, obviously Resident Evil it can be scary. Silent Hill can be scary. Dude, did you ever play Outlast?
Yes, absolutely.
Outlast is fucking horrifying. I can't finish that game.
I finished the second one. I can't finish the first one. The first one's way more terrifying to me.
It's too much. But like, if I'm not mistaken, they don't name you. It's first person.
I believe there's a story. I think because you're a reporter.
You're a reporter, but I don't think they do a ton of like background on you or anything.
I feel like there is.
Oh. Well, the point I'm trying to make is like, to me, that's how first person should be done.
Yeah.
Don't name them.
Sure.
Make it you. You know what I mean? Like forever, Master Chief. Nobody knew fucking anything about Master Chief. And you were just some dude in an outfit. Yeah. I never thought of it like that, but fucking rights. That is the way to do it. Because even Wolfenstein, like they did some, didn't they do? I never played Wolfenstein until years later.
You are a character. You're BJ something.
And that one's about like fighting the Nazis and stuff, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, admittedly, like we're sticking to Doom 1 and Doom 2, but like I loved Doom 3. I played through the new Doom that just came out. It was pretty good. I mean, like, and we'll get into this in a second. I think I slightly prefer Wolfenstein now because I like the story. I feel like Wolfenstein is a better story.
The way the franchise is going.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But Doom is like, to this day, like there's something fun about just you get these as you find more powerful guns.
You know what's fun about it is because it's imitating, or it's not imitating because they created it. They're going back to what made games fun. It's actually interesting we're in this right now because John Romero, one of the two founders of id Software, just talked about this, where games today, they're too focused on upgrades and loot. You spend half your time looking at stats, and there's a reason I don't like Borderlands and games like that, where I'm like, I can't choose between guns and constantly looking at stats. Right. Doom is a game where you're given a gun and you have to fully explore the personality and the character of this gun before you get a new one. And then each gun has its own specific set of purpose, and everything does something differently for different situations. So you rely very heavily and you become very personalized with this small selection of guns.
Right.
The same reason Halo was such a big deal, because you get two guns. You get one main one and one to fall back on.
Right.
And you really get attached to these weapons. So it's like, it's really a sense of like, those are your friends. Those are, like, that's your team is this lineup of guns.
And with it being as new as it was, like that's like to this day, like my go-to what gun in a game like this is a shotgun or a shotgun style game. As I fucking suck at these games, and you don't have to be that accurate. Yeah. If someone surprises you, you can get them quick with the shotgun. And this game was the one that kind of was like, hey, so by the way, the shotgun, like, you know what I mean? Like a big explosion in front of you. The pistol, you got to be accurate.
The pistol is longer. It's accurate over long range. So that's why the pistol's good. But I mean, once you get the shotgun, the pistol's worthless.
Right.
Unless you're out of shotgun.
Out of ammo, exactly.
But by that point, you're getting the chain gun, or you're getting the plasma rifle.
Right. And like, and that's a really smart thing of them too, not only to put you into that, but they're like, they could have just given you one gun and just been like, this is your gun. You know what I mean? You have to get through the game with your gun. But they give you these different guns, and you're right. You find one and you really have to spend some time with it. Yeah. And everyone feels like such a big deal when you fucking get a new one. It's so big to find a new weapon.
Especially, I mean, so let's talk about what's so great about this game. The secrets, the hidden stuff in these games is incredible. So when you find a hidden gun early before they give it to you, it's amazing.
Right.
When you find like that chain gun early before you get it, you're like, oh fuck yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so cool. Another, like, why I think this game is so great is it's a labor of everything that they loved at the time.
Right.
So it draws from action movies. So originally Doom, the way that they came up with this idea is it was supposed to be a Aliens game. So they were going to make a franchise game for the Aliens
movies. Like the movies, okay.
But then they opted out because they wanted more creative freedom over what they were creating.
Right.
So instead of this like science fiction, they opted for like this where like flesh meets technology, where demons meet technology. That's why you have like the cyber demon and all of these, like, it's like it's technology, but it's like skin and bone stuff.
Right.
And then like all the music is basically ripped off from everything that they were listening to at that time.
Yeah.
Like Metallica, Pantera, it's all just like direct MIDI riffs of
100%,
those songs.
And
it's like the chainsaw and the shotgun, that's all like from Evil Dead 2. Like all this stuff is like, everything that's in there they've taken from something that they loved around them. And it's like, this is the kind of game that, like, if I was a game designer, this is how I would make games. I'd take all this stuff I love and I would just put it into this thing.
Right.
And I think that's what resonates with me so much, and why like when I was saying like why it shaped me into the person I am, is not like the person I am, but the interests and the things I love, because I saw all these things mixed together, and then I found all their source material, and I said, well, I love this thing.
Right.
The people who love this stuff love this, and I went back and saw all, like, Evil Dead 2 is like my favorite horror movie, and it's and I never really put them together. But it's because of like that super shotgun in Doom 2, and then the chainsaw, like that's Evil Dead 2. That's it right there. And,
right.
And that's so good.
I think, yeah, dude, that's I mean, we've talked about it on the show about how sometimes people listen and they're like, the way you guys get excited make me want to play the game. And the way you're talking about it makes me want to go and play. Because I haven't played Doom in fucking forever. Like, I mean, I've played the new ones. I haven't played like these ones, and it's so long. But they're just like, they're so iconic. Like doing my research this morning and looking at some of the screenshots, that literally that red percentage health number.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those bright red, like 100%, 90%.
Yeah.
That fucking triggers that emotion. The dude's face.
Yeah.
Like I loved exploring these. Like I could spend so much time in one of these levels fucking exploring, just looking for like
Just
ammo
looking for
secrets or armor.
Yeah, secrets. Yeah.
And it's crazy some of the shit that you find. Like they could have made them so linear.
Yeah.
But they drew so like they like, and it's ballsy, dude. It doesn't seem ballsy today to make a game like this because there's so many games that push the envelope today.
Yeah.
But like to have done this when they did it, where we're playing Mario and Sonic, and now it's like, no, we're gonna make you fight fucking satanic
Cyber
demons
demons,
and there's blood and gore and
You're
shit.
gonna have to go to hell to fight them.
Like, dude, this game could have so easily blown up in their face,
Yeah.
and just had people be like, "What the fuck?" and put them out of business.
and they,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and people tried and they didn't care. They were like, whatever. Like,
I
we don't
love
give a
that,
shit.
dude.
Yeah.
Not enough people, in my opinion, take risks today.
Yeah.
There's like, and like you brought up the Borderlands thing.
Yeah.
Like there's video games as a whole today. Like there's, I mean, obviously people are trying stuff and things, but there's so many formulas, and it's just that basic fucking open world or whatever formula. You go looking for power, shit like that. And I'm not saying like I don't know what you even do to push the envelope anymore. Like I don't know what is left.
Yeah.
But like to have done that like the way that it did with these games is like, to me, that's what makes it a first ballot Hall of Fame franchise. It's less, I mean, the games are fun and they're cool and all that stuff, but just the fact that they took such a massive risk,
It pioneers. Yeah.
and it paid off in the most incredible way. Like people know Doom to this day.
Oh, absolutely.
Like Doom is iconic. Like it's, I mean, they've had an awful movie made.
Yeah. I'm not gonna talk about that. That's not important.
So bad. Fucking really cool. Like I'm admittedly I'm a fair weather Doom fan, and this has made me want to go play some Doom. Like
this, it's such a good game.
and like because they added like the key cards and stuff. Remember, you go find the colored key cards and shit like that.
So there are mechanics in this game that influence everything. Like what I love about Doom is you see something, you see health or ammo in a spotlight in a level. Chances are that's going to be a trap.
Right.
And you go in, and those are the scariest moments of Doom. Where you touch something, and a wall opens up, and the level changes, and it's a flood of enemies, and now you've got to run around trying to dodge fireballs and gunfights, and even you never feel safe because you can return to an area, and you'll like the invisible triggers in that game is a mechanic that I've loved. That every other horror game is borrowed from.
Yeah.
You've gone through a gunfight, you clear something, and you happen to go past a part where they've put an invisible trigger and it refloods with enemies again.
Yeah.
Like that's such an awesome mechanic.
Yeah.
Like, I love that.
I forgot all about that. When you see stuff, and like first you need to figure out, like I remember like when I to this day when I play it, I see stuff and I'm like, how the fuck do you get there?
Yeah.
Like you can see all this armor and you're like, I would really fucking like that armor.
Yeah.
But like half of it is the adventure of finding it. Then you find it, and then
you have to deal with the consequences.
And you're literally standing like an inch away from it on the screen. And you can't, if you've played Doom before, you're like, I fucking know as soon as I take another step, somebody is going to come out of somewhere. It never fails. Oh, it's so intense. And then half the time, like, because I suck, I'd pick up the armor. And then by the time I fight my way out of the room, I've lost all the armor and then some.
Just the armor alone is such a brilliant mechanic.
It really is.
Like outside of having just not giving you health to replenish, like having armor that takes like the green armor taking a third of the damage and the blue armor taking half the damage away from whatever's done. Like, that's such an amazing mechanic.
It's like I wonder if like when they were developing the game, they were just finding that like, dude, like you get fucked up in this game and we don't want to leave health kits fucking everywhere. Yeah. So then they're like, this is almost like a secondary health kit that we can leave everywhere. Yeah. And it doesn't seem hokey or cheesy.
It makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like the Marines
because it's
had armor.
Exactly. It looks exactly like what you're wearing.
Yeah.
What the other Marines that have fallen are wearing.
It's incredibly smart. And like your health can get down to 20 or 30%.
Yeah.
But then you pick up an armor. And your health is still at 20 or 30%, but you just bought yourself some time. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
As opposed to just picking up a health kit.
Exactly.
Fucking really smart, man. And then it makes health kits infinitely more valuable too.
Yeah,
when you do find them.
And I think what's kept this alive so long is the modding community that it had. So being a shareware game, people were able to make their own DoomWad files. And, and DoomWad is the map files.
Right.
So people could make their own levels. And to this day, like I don't know if you're familiar with Brutal Doom or anything like that.
No.
So this is why this game is just continued into my life. Like there are new Dooms, but someone created a mod called Brutal Doom that it's basically an an update. So there's more gore, there's more effects, there's new enemies, there's new weapons. It's like a whole new facelift. There's to the point where you can actually do like a full-on first-person shooter aiming style if you want.
Right.
But it's amazing. Like if you haven't played Brutal Doom, if you have access to get a copy of Doom 1 or 2 on a computer and then download Brutal Doom, it's free download. It's almost the best way to play it. Like, no, that's not true. Original's the best way, but if you're into like if you feel it seems a little too tame, Brutal Doom is the way to go. It's phenomenal.
That's
and
rad.
there's another one too that it's escaping me what it's called, but someone else built off of Brutal Doom, and it's just like it's crazy. Like new guns, new enemies. Like the gore is insane. Like the amount of blood spray, and then it also introduced like the finishing kills and stuff where you can rip guys in half.
Right.
What they have now in the new Doom, but that alone has kept the game alive.
Yeah, dude, the modding community, like, because again, when I was doing my homework about it, they were talking about how, like, I mean, there's mods like that where it's more graphic or more difficult or whatever, but there's also like hilarious mods.
Sure.
And they've been around forever. Dude, I remember when I was in school, I remember hearing about kids that would put like pictures of like kids they didn't like or teachers, or and then they get in trouble for it. You know what I mean? Like it was that it made it that accessible to everyone, and it was like has to have been a massive contributing factor to why that game has been as big as it has.
Like to the point where even like just recently, John Romero created like his own expansion for the original Doom. He created a whole new set of levels for it, and he made it and he put it out there, and he's like, it's still great. Like it's still like they had to rely so much on like how good the level design was and how good all of this stuff was for it to stay interesting. And he still proved that so many years later he can still do that, and it's just as good as ever.
That's really cool, man.
It's like I never made any Doom mods. I didn't understand how to do it, but I've known people that have done it. A crazy story about Doom 3, one of the top level designers for the Doom mod community made so many levels and was so influential that it offered him a job, and he became the level designer for Doom 3.
No shit, eh?
Yeah.
Dude, that is so cool. Like that, to me, that's gaming.
Yeah.
That's a passionate community, finding new members of its community, and then like, you know what I mean? Like rewarding them with that kind of stuff. That is so fucking rad.
And then like you look at like, you'll discuss it in the Doom 3 episode, but it's such a different change the way they went. But then you look at Doom 2016 and now Doom Eternal coming out, they really go back to what made those games like it's like interesting level design, open world levels, and just insane fun guns and like interesting enemies. Like it's crazy that like the images of like some of the enemies in the original Doom, like some of them were sprites, but some of them were like claymation that they took pictures of and digitized, and some of them were even like latex and metal.
Oh no shit!
Like the big spider character, like the spider boss character, was all latex and metal. Like it was an actual thing that they made, and they took pictures of and digitized. Like that's why when you look at like from the Hell Baron to the Cyber Demon, he looks visibly different than he does like the imps or the like soldiers, is because he was a full like clay sculpt figure that they took pictures and digitized as opposed to just making
that's
sprites
rad.
and like the textures on the wall were like they took from weird stuff. Like I heard one of the textures was just like a wound one of the guys had on his knee or something, and they just took an up close picture of it, and that was like what they put.
Really?
Like, one of the textures like a snakeskin boot that one of the guys had. Like there's all kinds of crazy stuff that they just like they were super creative in what they were doing, and like I imagine it was just the most fun to be there like making that game.
Oh, I can't even. Yeah, that's fucking sick. And then like I mean, you talk about all that stuff, the modding, the fucking armor, like the mechanics of that, all these different guns we'd never used before. I even liked the idea of looking for these colored key cards. Yeah. Because like this is going to sound stupid, but in a game this dark and this kind of like scary and sinister, like to find a nice bright blue glowing key card, it almost felt nice. You were just like, this looks happy. Yeah. Like it's nice and bright and glow. You know what I mean? And I have to assume they put that kind of stuff in because again, otherwise it has to. Without that stuff, doesn't it have to be very linear? Like you just go from like point A to point B. Yeah. So then
that's essentially what you're doing, but they allow you. It allows for that map exploration,
right? And that adds so much to that game, man. Fucking dude, like I want to play some Doom now. Like, oh, dude. And again, we won't get into Doom 3, although I fucking really need to do an episode on that game now. That game horrified the fuck out of me. But so did these, and like. Yeah. Are they on Switch right now?
They are.
Yeah, they are, right?
They're actually, well, I don't know when this, I mean, this is not going to come out for a while, but they're on sale on Steam right now too, which will have come and gone by the time this probably comes out. But
I'm sure they go on sale regularly.
Yeah,
though.
with like Doom Eternal coming out, it's their like 30th anniversary. They're doing like Doom Slayers Club right now.
Right.
So if you actually buy the ones on the Switch and you're planning to get Doom Eternal on the Switch, you get special unlocks. Like if you sign, because you sign up with your Doom Slayers Club account or whatever. Which you're a fan of Doom, you should absolutely do, because and you're going to play Doom Eternal. Just playing Doom 1, Doom 2, they give you like in-game unlocks. I don't know what they're going to be, but I've seen playing those on my Switch that they're going to be doing that.
That's rad.
Yeah.
Dude, I love like Nintendo and stuff like that. That's a giant, rich organization or like company that was like, hey, let's make a video game, and then Miyamoto obviously did Mario and stuff like that. Same with like Sega with Sonic and all that stuff. But for this to just be like these for lack of a better term, these nerds, these like technical nerds that were just like, hey, let's just make a cool, crazy, scary game, and then for it to become the iconic, like everybody knows Doom.
People who've never played first-person shooters know what Doom is.
Right.
I feel like.
And oh, dude, absolutely. And I feel like part of that is because a lot of like my mom and dad know Doom. My mom and dad would not know what Halo is. If I was like, you guys know what Halo is? They'd have no idea. But they would know Doom because when I was a kid, they knew that was the game I wasn't allowed to play. Right. And like, to me, there's something there too, because like that brand, that fucking word.
Yeah.
And what a perfect name.
Yeah.
Like just easy to remember. Everyone, it evokes that feeling of like dread or terror, kind of like
it sums up the exact feeling of the game.
Yeah, like they didn't call it like fucking Trip to Hell or you know what I mean? Like it was literally just like, hey, what's a scary,
like
memorable word?
The episodes that are in the game could have been the name of the game,
right?
You know, like any of those names that they gave, the levels or the episodes could have been the name of the game. But it's so simple.
Instead, they were just like, let's just call it Doom. You know what I mean? Like fucking genius.
Yeah.
Dude, are you good?
Yeah.
You fucking got it out. I feel great. I'm excited. I want to play some Doom now.
Like
I
love that you were concerned that this wasn't gonna you didn't know how it was gonna go, and I knew once I started talking, like it was just gonna pour out of me, because this is a franchise. This is a game that more than any other game, I love to this day, and I can't think of like a more perfect game for me. Like this is Doom 2, whatever it is. Desert Island game. Like if there's only one game I can play for the rest of my life, like Doom's it. Like
is that right?
I'm 31 now. I'm still playing it. Like I'm still like I'm buying it on any version that I can get. Like I've got it on my phone. I've had it on my iPad, on my iPhone, stuff like that. Like Brutal Doom, constantly playing. Like new Dooms all the time.
Love
like
it.
Anywhere I can. I bought them all on the Switch when they came out. Like I always just have to have access to Doom, because it's that game that I can always just get into, and it's never not going to be fun.
Right.
Like, I can know the levels inside and out, and I'm even still finding secrets that like I didn't know about before. Right. Like, and it's just one of those things that like it started with such a special thing in my mind and a time and place memory, but it's so much more than just the game. It's all the culture of everything I love. It's just like right in this one focused thing that it's perfect in every single way to me. And I love it so much.
That's, to me, that's the like that's the tip of the hat that it gets for this, is like they could have just relied on the gimmick of the first person shooter or the gimmick of hell and scariness and made a game. But instead they made a franchise that is memorable and fun. Like to me, like that's like these games to this day are fun. Yeah. And there's a lot of fucking great games that like really aren't that fun. They're an experience, but they're not fun.
They're epic. There's too many epic games.
Yeah.
Like we get games that are like, they look great. They're like mini movies and there's crazy stuff going on, but Doom is simplistic and it's fun. And it's like, I love that they're going back to that style. Like Doom 3 is great, but it really removed that aspect of it. And it's just like, I love these games where they're like, here's a gun that has a whole bunch of ammo and you just go crazy with it. And like crazy monsters and crazy visuals and level design and stuff. And there's no upgrades. There's no purchases. There's like nothing. It's just
go have fun.
It's just, you're going to find ammo and you're just going to go crazy. And it's great. And a lot of games are missing that.
100%, dude. Like, just before we end this, like, one of my favorite games from the last 15 years is Last of Us. I adore Last of Us. Yeah. Love that game. But, like, when I think of Last of Us, I would less describe it as fun and more describe it as, like, it's an experience. It's an experience, for sure. And it is fun. It is fun.
The story is what, like, pulled through on that.
Right. Yeah. And, like, and it is fun. But, like, I love Mario. and I love Pac-Man and Tetris, and there's no story, story. They're just fun. Yeah. And Doom, I could not tell you what the storyline is of Doom. Yeah. You're something about you're a dude on Mars, and they opened a portal to hell or something.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen I've seen the exact story, but it's essentially like it's the action movie trope. It's like something's gone wrong and you're the hardened group of Marines that have specialized in this, and you need to deal with it. And then you get there and it's way worse than you expected.
Right.
And everybody's dead and you're the only lone, you're the Arnold Schwarzenegger, you're the Sylvester Stallone, the nameless face, and you're just running and gunning trying to figure out how to save the world, I guess.
Yeah.
One of these cyber demon invasion.
And to me, like, it's just, there's not like, I mean, I like all games, but like to me, there's something about a game that doesn't need a story that is just fun. Yeah. And like, if I don't even know what the story was, but I had a good time playing it,
and you load it up, you're like, okay, I've got a gun, and they give you one small area to explore, but as soon as you open that first door, okay, now I know what I got to do. I got to shoot these guys, and then this is very apparent, and they just throw you right in the action.
Right, and that's
there's no lives, there's no game over, there's no you die, you just grind until you figure it out. Like there's ultimately no consequence other than losing the progress you've made.
Right,
but there's no score. There's nothing. It's just you can they added the time element for like speed running and stuff like that.
Right,
but there's no way to do that and get all the secrets and kill all the enemies, which is much more valuable.
You almost have to decide, do you want to speed run and not get stuff, or do you want to go explore? And exploring is where the fun is. Like, take your time. It's a fine wine. Yeah. Like, fucking just savor it, you know? Yeah. Dude, fucking rights. Okay, so Doom has been on 100 consoles. There are 100 different systems. Yeah. So out of 100 systems, how many systems would you give Doom?
I mean, there's some bad ports. I understand that.
There is.
But I mean, the game is too perfect. Like, it's 100. It's everything for me. Like, it's just everything that I love now as an adult. It was the labor of love, and the game is that to me. Like, it's like someone's older brother, like showing you, he's like, I've taken in all this stuff, and here's all the best stuff, and here's all the best movies and the best music, and these are all the things I love, and they influence your thing. Like, that's what Doom is. It's just like this forever big brother that's like, we loved all this stuff, and this is what we presented to you, and this is the sausage that we made out of all of these ingredients, and it's amazing even to this day. Like, it'll never not be good.
Word. Yeah, I'll go, I don't know, somewhere in the 90s, because I refuse to give a perfect, but it's just it's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Yeah. It's fun, dude. It's like, and like, to me, that's what this podcast is supposed to be. That's what video games are supposed to be. Video games are supposed to just be this fun escape from shittiness.
Yeah.
And that's what fucking Doom is. Just give you a gun, fill it with guys you want to kill, and go nuts. Yeah. That is that's gaming. That's fucking killer.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I feel infinitely better about this episode than I did 45 minutes ago. This was fucking rad.
I knew it was gonna happen. I knew as soon as we got into it.
Fuck,
like, it
so
was just
good.
Gonna pour out.
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was great,
guys. Thanks for listening. And if you're mad that we forgot to mention something about Doom, fuck off. All right. Thanks, buddy. Good job. And that's going to do it for this week's episode. Patrick, thanks for coming over, talking Doom with me, and to every single one of you beautiful people, thank you so much for listening to this stupid show of ours. That was episode 79. Next week will be episode 80. As we creep toward episode 100, our downloads are back up. They went down a little during the Christmas break, but now they're right back up where they were. Onward and upward with Remember the Game. Follow us on social media at Remember the Game on Twitter or Instagram. I'll follow you back, I promise. Facebook.com/Remember the Game. Check out Wrestling with Wrestling, my new wrestling podcast. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, it's on everything except iTunes right now because Apple can go fuck themselves. And I'll be back in 7 days with episode 80 of Remember the Game. Take it easy, guys. Go play some video games, and bye. Cheers.